Okay, we are live. I'm your host of Get the News Straight. I'm Glenn Sutphin. My co-host today is Chris Dorsey. We're talking about Hidden Valley condos in Pennsylvania. A place that shouldn't even exist, but it does. And it's not hidden anymore because I've been bringing it out in the news, and I've contacted members of the media that don't do anything, and members of Congress, I've contacted a lot of people with emails, been removed from their websites. So I'm putting it out myself about this place. We're going to show some photos and show people what's going on there. You can watch my first video on this place, which is up on my YouTube channel. And I give a shout out to everybody that's the advocates at Hidden Valley. And Chris has seen the videos and seen the photos, so he's...
Well, yeah, it's pretty shocking. There's all sorts of different issues with abandoned mines, sinkholes, entire walls and sides of the building falling down.
Completely falling off the building.
Completely falling off.
There was a fire in one of the units that added to the structural damage. I mean, the foundation is cracking.
It's uninhabitable.
Well, let's see. Well, let me see if I can pull up.
I think.
Yeah, there's a picture. You can see that there was cracks, mold. I'll put up another photo of this place. That photo was of the mold and stuff that's in the basement areas, the inhabited areas. Here's another photo. You got water in light globes. You got mold all over walls, and a homeowners association that I won't get too much into in this. You can read the articles, and because there is some things I was said not to talk about, and I will not speak of those things right now until I have permission. But you can see the damage that's done, the cracks in the walls. I mean, the place, in my opinion, and in my articles I've said, it needs a black hole to swallow it up and make it disappear off the planet. The people that live there need to be compensated for having to live under these conditions. And I have brought up in my articles about this being part of Agenda 21, which is why I sort of got into looking into this, is because it all kind of connects back into Agenda 21. But this isn't the only area like this of its kind. This isn't even the only story in Pennsylvania I've covered. There was Barbara Long's story, which I'll cover on another episode. But I just wanted to throw that in there.
I want to say something about Agenda 21, and so it doesn't get too much of an abstraction, or folks don't get lost and think that this is some sort of grand conspiracy that this is not a part of. Agenda 21 is, in simple terms, the population control agenda for the world government, which includes the United States of America,
right,
through the United Nations. And as Glenn said, this is not an isolated incident. This is happening all over. Glenn, and to a much lesser extent, I have been researching this and sharing information with the public about what's going on in Hidden Valley. But if we went down the street, we would find the same issues in every apartment complex in the city of Richmond, and we're not even talking about the public housing projects. Which I would like to say this: Richmond has the highest per capita residency for public housing projects of any place on the East Coast. So there's a higher percentage of the population of the city of Richmond living in these uninhabitable, substandard public housing projects than any other place on the east coast of the United States of America, and they're all built on toxic waste dumps. They're including a vast majority of the schools, if not all the schools, with the exception of very few in the city of Richmond, built on toxic waste dumps. We have similar issues in the city of Richmond with Elkhart, Middle School
that's been closed down.
Has been closed down in the middle of the year because it is too toxic, with the mold and the fact that it was built on a toxic waste dump and the fact that it is just a bunch of carbon monoxide and noxious, moldy air for everybody. They shut down the schools, and they're going to have to send them to another school, which they had shut down the year before.
Exactly.
And that this is not even the only incident where they've had to shut down schools for being environmentally hazardous to children. So if they shut it down on Tuesday and they had children going to school Monday and every day before then, aren't the children getting sick? Aren't they going to get sick? Aren't they getting asthma? Aren't they getting lead poisoning? And the answer is yes, they are. And why is that? Because nobody cares, and they want the worst for the masses.
For the general population.
They want the worst for the general population.
Right.
Yeah, you won't see these issues at St. Christopher's School. Yeah. You'll see it at Elkhart Middle School, but not at St. Christopher's School. Not at Collegiate.
Getting back to, I was evicted from a condemned house that had issues, and the city just turned back around after he piddled around with it and then lost it. And they didn't do any of the upgrades that they needed to. They just turned around and resold it. So, it goes on constantly.
I mean, I think we could all, anybody who's lived in the Richmond, city of Richmond, and I'll just say anywhere, but, especially here, because this is where our experience is. We have experiences elsewhere, but a lot of our experience comes from running and managing businesses in the city of Richmond, and having residencies, or at least laying our heads at night down to sleep in a shelter inside the city of Richmond. I mean, I'm thankful for the house I live in, but I mean, it's got holes in it. It's got holes in the wall. But it still nearly costs $1,000 a month to rent, anything that's not just complete garbage. And the complete garbage is still unaffordable, but if you can scrape up enough to not live in a place that's overtly condemnable or has visual walls covered in all sorts of black mold, then you're just gonna be paying at least $1,000 a month, or I should say at least $900 a month around here. And even in some cases around here, we can start talking about how the Section 8 scam goes.
Yeah. So there's scams everywhere.
Scams.
You look. Yeah, I mean, the homeowners associations taking people's rights away, which I'm really against homeowners associations. Because they're a scam. They're the biggest
neighborhood
scam.
Associations,
Homeowners
associations,
all of them. They're all designed to keep you in line, and that's and then they don't do what they're supposed to do. So what good are they? But yeah, like I said, getting back to this particular building, since this is what this episode is on.
Sure.
The reason for the cracks in the walls, the stair step cracks, are because the foundation is sinking. There's a sinkhole next to the building. The thing is sinking into the sinkhole. I mean, it's going to happen. Even if you shore up, the problem is the ground that the thing is built on is not able to withstand the load of the building. It's settling. It's going into a sinkhole. It might be going into a mine shaft. We don't know. They didn't do it. We can't get people to do ground surveys out there. You can't get inspectors out to the thing. I mean, it's a really, really weird thing going on that nobody wants to know. I mean, there's evidence coming out that these places were not built when they said they were. They're actually about a decade or two older. So you don't know. I mean, the paperwork, you can't find the paperwork on this thing. I've tried. I want the blueprints for it. I want to know who built it. I want to know, because it looks like other buildings in the area, and if they were built around the same time, they were designed by the same designers, that they look alike, because back in that time period, they kind of did that. They go, this is our signature, boom, and they made all these signature buildings, and they were all built by the same people. So you got to dig and dig and dig, and a lot of people are digging on this, and I'm trying to get it out in the open so that people can actually see what's going on and hear about what's going on. And I do have a little bit of experience. I was a land surveyor, Rod Shaman, instrument man. I'm pretty familiar with where buildings are located and property and what's going on with the ground swells, and the thing is a nightmare. I mean, we'll just put it that way. I pity anybody that has to live there, is forced to live there, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody requires compensation, and it's not just, they need their money back for paying to live in a substandard, dwelling. They need compensation for getting scammed. I mean, this is what the American people require, is compensation. Stop, attempting to, I think that you mentioned that there was a court case about this.
We're not going to go into
we're not going to go into that, but I can pretty much, I don't know anything about that court case in particular, but I can guarantee that it will be a sham in a kangaroo court with no authority and no legitimacy. So it's time to get your guns, folks, and it's time to really, folks know who's behind all this stuff. And the thing is, what you need to do to them is stick a camera in their face.
Get them on camera.
You need to stick a camera in their face. You see them in the grocery store, stick a camera in their face.
Use your cell phone.
If you see them out at night at dinner, and get your neighbors to join in. These folks need to be shunned. I watched this funny TV show called Amish Mafia, and it's now in season 4, and it's there's a rivalry between the Amish and the Mennonites, which, if folks know anything about that, they're, and I must say that I have that kind of blood in me, that Pennsylvania Dutch blood in me, amongst the Irish and Scottish and English. But going back to family members who are members of the Church of the Brethren, and these guys, they had it all pretty much figured out. So they never took any oaths, so therefore they wouldn't have to testify in a court or anything like that. And also another thing is, when the other folks started getting out of line, what do the Amish do? What do the Brethren do? I mean, and this is what allegedly caused some of this schism. They shun these folks. They do it at different levels too. These guys,
they will turn their back on you.
We turn our backs on you. We don't want to have anything to do with you, and we'll even do more overt things within the law to make you pay for your crimes too. Just make the life of those who are making others suffer, make them suffer. Because until that point, and it could be make them suffer by dragging them out of their house and saying, this is public property and we're going to freeze your assets. That's what needs to be done. What really needs to be done to solve all these problems is we need to take the richest individuals in every town, we need to freeze their assets, and we need to put them in jail immediately.
Yeah, make them pay for their crimes for once.
Amen.
But I just wanted to bring to attention this, I don't want to make this too long, about Hidden Valley. I'll be doing more reports like this and on other stories that I've covered. So, for that, I'm Glenn Sutphin. This is Chris Dorsey. We'll see you later.